Ladies and gents, welcome back to another video. Today we are covering something that I found on Kickstarter around a week and a half ago. And honestly, it's been an absolute train wreck that I've been watching unfold in real time. This is, of course, the Kickstarter Kingdoms of Ereloth, an RPG survival video game. Now, of course, you're probably thinking, Kickstarter, RPG survival, Jesus Christ, not again. And you would be right to think that, because this is an utter disaster. Now, if you've been following this game on Kickstarter, you probably already know what it is, but I will say this, stay with me because there's something a bit more nefarious behind the scenes with this one. So why am I covering this at all, you might wonder? This game was kickstarted 6 months ago and released into early access last month. So you might be thinking, wow, a development time of 5 months? That doesn't seem like a lot. And you would be right. Now, this game released into early access about a month ago, and I have played it, and I can tell you this much, it's an absolute fucking mess. Nothing works. On release, this game had you T-posing on a horse whenever you ride it. Every player was just called player, and anytime you dropped an object, it literally fell through the floor. There was no collider on any of the dropped objects. Which, if you've released a game that you've at least tested once, that wouldn't happen. And many people have used the excuse of, oh, it's early access. Cool. And my comeback to that would be, well, surely, if the developer has launched the game on a server and play tested it with more than one person, you would have realised all of these issues within about 10 minutes. But yet, it released in an absolute just state. People were lagging all over the place on day one on servers that had about 6 people on it. And this isn't to mention that this game is claiming it's going to be hosting 2,000 people per server. Now, without them using the word MMO, this is by definition aiming to be an MMO. 2,000 players on a server is the same as RuneScape. So, yes, that is at MMO scale. This game raised $37,000, just over their $35,000 that they needed. Now, this is an unusual one. Not because of what they were showing or anything like that, but because of how they treated their staff and what their company used to be. Because I always like to look at a project and work out what the team's motives are. Are they people who just genuinely want to make a really good game? If so, I can give them some benefit of doubt, right? I can say, sure, you made a mistake here, but I can see the intentions are good. I cannot say that about this company, because if we go up to the top, bear in mind, this released in an absolute mess. It was just no good. People are annoyed. Their Discord is on fire with angry customers. And of course, the defense is constantly, oh, it's early access, it's early access. Doesn't matter. They are charging, or were, up until the day before yesterday, the price of a full release indie game for an early access mess. Now, I'll have it up on the screen somewhere, but this game is entirely made of asset packs from the Unreal Marketplace. And I feel I need to delve deeper into this, because so many people seem to get angry when I judge a company or a studio for using assets. And I think people seem to misunderstand why I judge them for that. Assets are fine. If they're there to supplement your game and fill a use case that saves you time. Let's say you need to make these low poly trees in a very specific style, and the marketplace already has them, fantastic, use them. There's no one's going to judge you for that, as long as it fits the art style. But what you find is when a game is exclusively using asset packs, there's normally one of two reasons for that. One, they never intend to make it functional, just look good for a trailer. Or two, they don't know how to make it functional, and they don't know how to program. So they will buy all these asset packs and jank them together. And yeah, believe it or not, that's what's happened with this game. And there's a lot more proof of this coming from testimonies from their employees. Or their interns, should I say. Because trust me, this rabbit hole gets deep. Now, something to note here is that this game is created by Arcadius Entertainment. And as I was saying a moment ago, I really love to look into the motives of a company. And the first thing you should do when looking at a company that has never made a game and that you've never heard of, but they claim they are an expert company in making games, but then they claim they're an indie company, is to go to Wayback Machine. Because the Wayback Machine is a fantastic tool to look into what a company was doing previously. So here's Arcadius' website as it is currently. Absolute mess, and they've only got Kingdoms of Ereloth on there. They've got this as their partners. From what I can tell, these are not their partners. AWS isn't a partner. They are using AWS. They are using these things. It doesn't mean that they are partnered with it, and I have no evidence of them being partnered with it. There is no agreement here. And this is a stupid thing to do, because this can be quite easily fact-checked. So I don't know why companies do this. But are you ready for the real kicker? The Wayback Machine of this site. Oh boy howdy, here we go. When we're talking about monetization and their real motives to make money, let's say you want to make money really quick. What's the one thing before creating a Kickstarter survival RPG that you would do to try and quickly milk money out of people? That's right, you go to the blockchain. You sell cryptocurrency that you've created that has no value with some random ticker that's got a pre-sale countdown that isn't actually linked to a timer, it's just a FOMO tool. Yeah, that's what you do. So let's have a look at this. This annoys me so much because this is here for everybody to see. So if you want true motives of a company, Wayback Machine their website if you've never heard of them. Because I can guarantee there's something nefarious on there from at least a year ago. And while this isn't tied to the game, let's read this out. Next generation survival and battle royale video game. We integrate traditional commercialization models to the blockchain to provide a solid and versatile proposal. That literally means nothing. Thank you for that. About the game. So here's a game that they never delivered on, but they started a pre-sale of crypto. So if you look at all these screenshots on the website, these are all just things from like the Lyra demo game with a few asset packs thrown in from Unreal Engine 5. With the implementation of a governance token and a utility token that complement traditional commercialization methods, we provide sustainability to our business model. It's all just word soup because crypto has proven to never actually help a game out and stabilize a game's economy. It just ruins the game because the game never exists. And unfortunately, that's what this is, more of the same. So now we know their motives, right? It is make money quick of something that doesn't exist, right? Now, what have we had happen here? Well, Kingdoms of Ereloth had both a Indiegogo for £31,000 and a Kickstarter for $37,000. And of course, because it was fully funded, they've now had to actually deliver on something. But unfortunately, there's nothing to deliver. They didn't have a product. They had some clips of asset packs on their YouTube. They had some video footage that was from said asset packs, and generally they just didn't have anything. So now, in 6 months, they've had to make an entire MMORPG from scratch. How do you think that went? Not well at all, I can tell you that much. So I'm just going to put this out here. This game was a total mess on release. These guys even forgot to launch the servers when the countdown hit 0 for their game. It took them half an hour to remember, oh shit, yeah, we need to actually launch the servers for our online-only game. I played this on launch for an hour only. That is all I could stomach of trying to get through the bugs. And I'm sure you're looking on screen right now at what's going on. Now, I've heard rumours from people within the company that this company plans to shut down within the next couple of days and go bankrupt, right? Wow, isn't that a convenience? And you might be thinking, well, with such a short amount of money, surely they've gone bankrupt. No, because here's the next kicker. They didn't pay their staff. So here is a post on the Steam forums. And this is so telling of what's happened here that I don't even need to fact check that this person even worked for them, because reading this whole thing, they did. They worked for them. Because this is textbook Kickstarter scam game. Let's have a read. This is from Matt on the Kingdoms of Ereloth general discussion on Steam. I knew this game would fail, an ex-intern's experience. If anyone has any questions, ask me through Steam messages. I expect this post to be deleted, but I have a backup since I plan to post this on other sites. My story. Hi. First off, I want to tell that I used to work as an intern in this game during December 2022 and January, February and a little bit of March in 2023, before being disassociated with the project suddenly and without prior notice. I worked as a sound designer, selecting, editing, mixing and conditioning different audio files, 99% of it coming from assets. Wow, what a surprise there, to make them cohesive in volume and quality to implement into the game. I got the job through a friend of mine who already had a foot inside the company in another position more focused in design. I won't go into detail since despite me being somewhat deliberate about my identity, I don't want to throw my friend under the bus, although, in comparison, he's heavily more affected than me, but we'll get into that later. When I was contacted, I was personally interviewed by the CEO of Arcadius Entertainment, Maximilian, and didn't ask too much about my capabilities and previous experience, and practically hired me on the spot. He was also eager to point out that wages of interns were $150 monthly and would be paid retroactively, at minimum in a 1-month delay. Okay, sure, I thought, since I wanted to have a foot inside the game dev industry, no matter what. Also, the contract said that I had to do full-time work, as if talking about a 9-to-5 job. The whole company dynamics, advances, meetings and development were hosted in a single place, a Discord server. Also, there is a WhatsApp group where, at least from the time I was an intern, memes were more abundant than anything else related to the development of KOE. Also, quick announcements and general info were distributed using the communities feature from WhatsApp. So this is a sign that the people operating this just have no idea what they're doing. Like, absolutely none. When you scale up to a big enough company that you are monetarily developing a game that is going to be published, you go bigger than Discord. Discord is not a organization tool. It's a fantastic hub, but it is not a company tool. Sure, some companies use it successfully, but you need the underlying experience in running a team to be able to do that. You don't just... It's not a good starting place, let's put it that way. So, important stuff related to the inner workings of our company and team of, which consisted at the moment of around 80 people in all areas from HR to development and all in between. All those aspects were managed inside a Discord server and a WhatsApp community feed. Do I need to say anything else? Not really, but we're going to continue. Anyways, I was presented to the audio department that consisted of one other person, an audio engineer that was hired as an intern some months before me. So basically, there was no pipeline or workflow in terms of audio, or some way to track what sounds needed to be edited and implemented into the game. No way to know which folder contained the audio files to edit inside of the plastic SCM repo, and the worst offender, no way to work with the audio assets without downloading the whole 500 gigabytes Unreal project to my hard drive. Oh my god. I cannot explain to you how insane that is. Not being able to... So with source control, what normally happens is you download the project files for your department, you work on them, push them, and then somebody else implements them into the game. Now, they're saying here, this made me unable to do in-engine implementation of the audio, so someone else in my team had to do it. Since audio implementation means also testing it, loading the game assets and assuring they're working within the game engine. Something my little potato couldn't handle. And I'm going to be honest, you shouldn't, as an audio designer, you shouldn't have to download the entire game to test your one sound file as an intern. So, the pipeline was the following. Take several days or weeks, depending on internet speed, to download the whole project from the plastic SCM repo, open it, and all that it entails, and try to find the sound effects or music assets. Export them from inside the engine. Export them from inside the engine. So the developer or CEO or anyone else on the team wasn't allowed to export them and then send them to this person. He had to download all 500 gigabytes to get a couple of kilobytes of audio to edit and then put back in. Lord help me. And although my laptop is good enough for making music and do sound design, it's nowhere near able to handle Unreal Engine 5, less so with 500 gigabytes of Unreal Engine 5 project. And this is the problem with having 170-something asset packs just thrown higgledy-piggledy, and you guys loved that word apparently in the last video, thrown higgledy-piggledy just into a game project. So here's where it gets worse. Open it, all that entails, blah, blah, blah. Export them from inside the engine. Edit them with whatever you had. They didn't provide any tools to facilitate this work for a long time. I had to practically beg for a Reaper license. And for those of you who don't know what Reaper is basically a audio plugin for like modulation and effects and like really commonly used stuff. So like that is bare bones basic in the audio world. Reaper is something that practically everybody needs. And if you're doing something on this, on this scale, it's essential to have something like that. So not even giving the people who you're barely paying $1 an hour to, the tools that they need to do the job, it blows my mind. But anyway, And then exporting it from the editing program to re-import it into the project, committing the changes to the plastic SCM repo. So yeah, as someone who runs a game dev team, this hurts my brain as to why this is expected. I mean, if you're paying someone to do this, sure, I guess, right? If you're getting paid a wage, this is kind of acceptable because it's their money you're wasting. But when you're getting paid an intern wage of $150 a month for full-time 9-to-5 work, fuck that. Anyways, not so long after, another member joined the audio department, and everything worked fine for about 3/4 of the time I worked as an intern. But then some stuff started to ick me in a bad way. First, although I accepted the initial terms of retroactive payments, I was told several times that this month you'll get your pay. Something that hasn't happened to this day. Wow, what a shocker. Second, this new guy that joined after me and the guy before me, after just 1 month of working, was paid, while I have never received anything in the 2 months I was working there. I don't hold any grudge against him, but I find the situation infuriating. And so you should. If you've been promised pay, not got it, and then some random guy that's joined has just been paid, that ain't it, chief. Lastly, the workload increased drastically during February. I was already on a low profile since the first 2 months, despite being ready for work practically 24/7. There was not too much to do. The current assets didn't have anything that could be reutilized to the project. Almost nobody asked for custom-made sounds, and pretty much everyone on the audio department was pretty chill. But on February, suddenly everything had to be redone. There was at least 100 gigabytes more of random assets that we had to search the audio. So what he's saying here is, they added 100 gigabytes more of random asset packs, and they didn't know where the audio files were that needed to be changed. They just tested and went, oh, this audio needs changing. Please go find all the stuff. Which, when you've added asset packs to an Unreal project and you just tell someone to go find it, there's no file structure. Every asset pack has its own structure to its files, and they never coincide with one another or go, audio in the same place, models in the same place. It's just a mess, absolute mess, and I don't envy anyone who ever has to do that. We had to search the audio-related ones and do a multi-screen spreadsheet worth of sound several times because the people reviewing our work, that more often than not was the entire staff inside of advancements meetings in a Discord call, despite universally agreeing with our work, the changes, and only suggesting minor changes. Days later, our supervisor was telling us that everything's bad, doesn't work, doesn't follow the vision we had for the project, and has to be redone. If a project ever gets to that point where tons of work has been done, and then last minute someone goes, no, it all needs changing, get them out. Get them out of that position of power, because they don't have a vision. Their vision is just whatever my vision on the day is. So the combination of our work being accepted and then rejected, redone to suffer the same loop several times, and the fact that the CEO expected a 9-to-5 responsibility from us, well, while not being paid a single penny, while the newest guy of the audio department was paid instantly, made working at Arcades Entertainment one of the most frustrating times in years. I am so sorry that you had to go through this, genuinely. What was your name? Was it Max? Matt, I am so sorry you've had to go through this, because I have worked in companies like this, and it's horrific. Because you do get the sunk cost fallacy of, well, I've worked here for 3 months, I don't want to leave on bad terms, waiting for pay. But then you, at the same time, need to slow down and realise, I'm not getting paid, ever, so I should cut my losses now. Promptly after my 3-month intern period ended, with maybe an extra week or two of me working there, I was thinking, they didn't kick me off at the end of my 3rd month, maybe I'm going to be part of the team as a proper employee. Growing expectation since management was radio silence on all of those extra days, then suddenly I was kicked off the WhatsApp group, Discord, and lost access to the plastic SCM repo. Who told me I'm being laid off? The co-worker from the audio department that was there before me. Okay, I said. We gave each other our goodbyes and then tried to contact someone to see whether they were going to pay me, since they owed me $450. Something nowhere near what I should have been paid according to some people, but hey, it was money I made doing something I'm passionate about, and in my mind, I was in a position of either I accept this opportunity and have a footing inside the game dev industry, or I should F off. You've got to start somewhere, and unfortunately, these are the sort of jobs you do end up taking for that reason. So again, sorry it happened to you. The thing is, I was told that my payment was going to be done in mid-April. I waited. Nothing. Then I contacted them again. I was told that the Indiegogo and Kickstarter campaigns are being held, so wait until they got funded, and I would get my $450. I waited. Nothing. I contacted again. Pending payments are going to be done at the end of September. I waited. Nothing. I contacted them some days ago again. We need to wait for Steam to bill our early access money to pending payments. Wait until then. And here we are. Early access has launched. It sucks massive ass to the surprise of no one, and Arcadius will probably hire more clueless people to patch this giant mess of a medieval MMORPG video game, and be disappointed after with the promise of money that will never be paid. The thing is, Kickstarter is rife with these games, and it sucks. It really, really sucks, because it is hurting. There are so many people that are passionate about getting into the game dev industry, and their hopes and dreams are just shattered. Someone just whips it out and pisses all over them on their first, interaction with the industry. And it sucks. It really sucks. Hopefully this hasn't ruined it for this person, because the game industry is great. There are great places to work in the gaming industry. But it continues. Number 2, I knew this would happen. So there's a second part to this whole fiasco, and here's where I explain why I knew this would happen. Outside of my story as an ex-worker of Arcadius Entertainment, I almost graduated with a degree on video game development and design, but I had to abandon it for economic reasons and mainly mental health and a strong depression that I was fighting against in 2018, where I was practically on the middle of the career. Anyway, my passion was always music and audio, and I tried re-entering the industry from that approach. And that led me to part 1 of the post. I am also addicted to the news about the industry, the inner workings of it, management, development cycles, scope creep, etc. So I think I'm well informed about the do's and don'ts of the industry. Also, thanks to the friend who recommended me for this job, and that he also worked for far more time than me, being laid off 10 months. I knew that this is how the company worked, and the several mistakes that they made up until this point in the development of Kingdoms of Ereloth, during my short time there as an intern. And the following months led to the early access launch. Constant backtracking. Decisions not only being changed all the time, a lot of stuff is not final even when upper management and team leaders say it is final, because there's no sense of commitment to any idea, and thus devolves into development hell, where whole parts of the already done work are trashed and made from scratch. Hesitation and sustainability. I know for a fact that Kingdoms of Ereloth had seen changes of game engine at least 3 times. Meaning breaking bugs, incompatibilities, breaking changes, sometimes even file corruptions and damaged code. Not to mention, by the way, guys, that to get this to work, you need every single asset pack to have upgraded to the newest version to support it. Oh dear God, I don't even know what to say to that. I can picture the hell that's taking place behind the scenes here. All because the team leaders hesitated in stay on a single stable version of the pursuit of the new features that each version of the engine implemented. The whole 500 plus gigabyte game passed through Unreal 5, 5.1 and 5.2, and I wouldn't be surprised if before 5.0 the project was ported in from the latest 4.x Unreal version. Would not surprise me. Horrible investments. A huge part of the funding from Indiegogo and Kickstarter were invested in asset packs and maybe paying salaries to the fundamental people that are the ones making Kingdoms of Ereloth a reality. But a lot of the assets are not used, and the ones that are being used are a small selection from hundreds, if not thousands of dollars worth of assets. I'm telling you now, it's thousands. I can confidently say that at least 30% of the total revenue, being conservative, is down the drain in assets that are not even used as placeholders. Oh my God. This is a team that has got money for something that they didn't think they'd have to actually complete, and they are panicking to throw something together. Doesn't matter what, just something. Now, there's more things here like neglecting the market, conflict of power. But the important thing here is, with all that said, I genuinely hope this game finds success for 3 reasons. I want my $450, please, although my friend is owed an amount close to 2,000 USD. Christ, this is going to be a lawsuit, I'm telling you now. If the rumours are to be believed that they're going to be closing down in the next couple of days and filing for bankruptcy, they are owing people a lot of money. Hey, future Callum here, and as of today, the day of me releasing and editing this video, well, it turns out that the developers have gone completely silent. They have ditched the Discord entirely, despite still being there. There are no responses to any comments, and team members are saying that, as developers and artists, they themselves are getting absolutely zero response from any of the project managers, and that it is basically dead in the water. So the rumours were true. It just so happened that they came to fruition right before releasing this video. Anyway, back to present, Callum. I want a reason to be prideful and show that I worked on this game in my portfolio, but mainly, I don't want the effort and time of dozens of people that worked on this project, to go down the drain. That's it. And I mean, if people are interested, there's another developer that came out with a whole nother post that's just basically stating that there are tons of people that are unpaid on this project that have just never seen the money. It baffles me. It utterly, utterly baffles me that games are still getting away with this. I'm just going to point this out now. For me, not paying your staff is bad enough. That's awful. But the absolute icing on the cake is that they were a crypto project that never delivered on their promises before this. That's it, done. Now, I'm going to leave it at this, even though I have a lot more information on this. I will make a follow-up video to this because I expect this to basically rug pull within the next couple of days. But I know you guys have been after some deep dive Kickstarter scam kind of stuff, so hopefully this is something you guys have enjoyed. And if you have, please consider joining my Patreon. It helps more than you could imagine. And as always, guys, I'm going to keep track of this, and until next time, take care.